In the previous episode of Startup Perspectives, we heard from Iron Pillar's Mohit Jhawar, who shared the venture capital's point of view on how startups can navigate the current economic scenario. In this episode, we hear from Mohit Jhawar of Flipkart, who gives us the e-commerce giant's point of view on the funding slowdown, macroeconomic trends, and opportunities for growth in this economic climate. Great to have you, Mohit. Flipkart has made a number of acquisitions and strategic investments over the years. What has been the broad strategy of identifying an investment opportunity?
So in my experience and over the years, what I've seen, there are three key drivers behind an M&A. Typically, company would do M&A essentially to either consolidate market share. So let's say if a company is a leader in a particular segment, it already has a greater share of customer as well as market over there. It makes perfectly sense to use and leverage this position to go for M&A, acquire brands which will help us consolidate position. And that remains a primary driver if you see the M&A in the market today. The second factor where most companies would try and attempt an M&A is to use their customer base, leverage their customer base to cross-sell opportunity and sell them categories which are adjacent to what they're already selling, but right now not available in the platform. Third essential category where we have seen M&A happening, and we have also done some of those M&A in the past, is essentially to acquire capabilities. And the capabilities could be in the form of either a fixed asset, either a human talent pool, or either technology which will help us enable either in better customer retention or in managing our supply chain better or managing our delivery experience better.
For startups acquiring other companies, what are the key points they should keep in mind to ensure that they get the desired business outcome after the acquisition?
So while starting off a right strategy and identifying the right target is probably a good starting point, a key factor where the desired outcome of M&A depends on how you go about integrating the acquisition, integrating the target with your current business as well as your current team. In my experience, there are broadly five factors which you need to keep in mind while designing your post-merger integration strategy and plan. First of all, what is most important is for the teams to get defined is what exactly are we going to achieve through this process. So define your objective clearly, have a clear integration plan chalked out. Also can keep making correction, the timely adjustment to the process when some things are going differently or if the macro condition changes. The second factor essentially would be enabling the right way of integration, which is in a way a soft side of the whole integration process. So while you're creating a team, make sure that there are members from both sides of the company. This will not just help in making sure that accountability and responsibilities are equally shared, but also help in doing culture flux. The third important point essentially would be the following up from the previous point is keeping accountability. So define your quarterly milestones, define your business milestone in the integration plan, but make sure those are being followed up on a regular basis. The review and the tracking of the progress is happening on a manner where you can keep a tight progress on the integration plan. The fourth factor here will be essentially making sure that people on the both sides are assimilating properly. This is the most important factor, and in my experience, I've seen most M&A probably fails on this point, where even after identifying the right asset, right fit, right synergies, the M&A sometimes go haywire if the two-sided of cultures are not gelling well, if the people are not integrating well. Lastly, I would say recognize small victories, small milestone, and keep the recognition and the motivation of the team high to keep the impetus going, because sometime integration, and I would say most of the time integration is a very long, tiring process. There are both sides of people involved who, other than their normal day-to-day functions, have taken on this as an additional responsibility. So it's important to make sure that their motivation and impetus remains high.
While the focus of M&As have largely been towards expansion, many acquisitions also focus on acquiring capabilities or acqui-hiring. Do you see this as a developing theme in the current environment where many startups face cash crunch?
So rightly said, Amit, Look, I think acquiring human talent, especially in today's environment and today's talent crunch, is becoming a key necessities. Most of the times, given the competition in the hiring market, it becomes very difficult for you to sort of keep the pace of recruiting up with the growth business is demanding. So what typically becomes, which was sort of not present in the M&A landscape, is acquiring becomes an important tool, and it is becoming even more important in today's environment, especially if you go back last 6 months. There was a lot of competition for talent, a lot of sort of there was a so much heat up in the market that it was very difficult to acquire teams in the manner which we would want it to. Also, especially given we were also growing inorganically and we had sort of started three new businesses, there was a definite need for more human talent acquisition. But having said that, acqui-hire, in my view, will always remain an opportunistic trend, given the complexity involved with not just identifying the talent, but also with right way of integration, making sure that culture, team DNA is assimilated properly, and most importantly, what really becomes a challenge is even after you have sort of gone ahead with the path of acquire, sometimes it becomes challenging to retain the talent which you have acquired through acquire. There is no guarantee in terms of talent which has come with through an acquire will remain with the company. So, given all this complexity in terms of finding the right set of team, right set of talent, right set of culture, and then the problem with retention, even if the current environment demands it, in my view, it will remain far and fewer.
That was interesting, Mohit. Apart from the general points of conserving cash and extending runway, what advice would you give to founders to successfully navigate times like these?
I think enough has been said about what is the right advice and what are the right steps to do in this current environment. So I'm not going to repeat what is the traditional wisdom already, but what I think is worth reiterating few points. And in some of these things, if we follow even through this difficult time, will probably keep you in good state and will probably help you bounce back in better shape probably than from before. So I think first and most important is have a clarity of picture, have a clear communication with all your stakeholders. Make sure your investors, your employees, your customers are well aware. This will not just help you in terms of taking the right action at right time, but also will help you get the help when you need. Secondly, I think this is an opportunity to take a pause, take a stock of things, and review your processes, make necessary tweaks, probably change the path for keeping the company in better shape. So this is a time for all of us to take stock of things and maybe make corrections where it's required, and will probably help company keeping in a better state than before. Thirdly, use this opportunity, use this time to find innovative ways to finance, innovative ways to figure out help, including from your suppliers, your customers, in case you are in B2B business. Figure out different ways to raise money either through debt or through credit. Keep exploring all the options available to you. Make sure you have tapped all the buttons and get whatever help is required. Fourthly, and most importantly, I would say, and this is what probably will keep company in good shape and keep everything together and sailing the boat together, is to make sure that you and your employees are keeping well. There is a focus on the well-being, and most importantly on the mental well-being of the everyone involved, so that when the going gets tough, you all are together and making sure that coming out in a better shape than before.
Thank you, Mohit, for those valuable insights, and thank you, viewers, for joining us today. Stay tuned for the next episode of Startup Perspectives.